Hi folks, McBeard here. I know what you're thinking. You've got this framed portrait of Emir Var Emrys in your background, and you never play Nilfgaard. Why do you never play Nilfgaard? Well, you're in luck, folks. I'm playing Nilfgaard for today's video. We're playing Morvran Voorhees Secret Agent, a super slim deck that focuses on maintaining power, maintaining board presence, of course card advantage, and then ultimately slimming your deck down so you can crush with Ciri Dash. And I believe this deck was a little bit more popular at the beginning of the positioning patch, but I thought I'd revisit it because it was my Nilfgaard deck of choice. And let's take a look at it right now. So, Secret Agent Voorhees. So, I like to play this deck basically. You essentially are trying to thin as much as you possibly can so your deck is ultra slim to improve your chances of drawing Ciri Dash in round 2 and round 3. So she's nice and so she's very strong, and pulling out Roach and ultimately being near the end of the game where it's a strength total that your opponent can't really answer. And this will work fairly reliably if you can get Ciri Dash out on round 2. And the reason this works is because of this one combat engineer that makes it possible. Now we're sort of in a Scorch meta right now, so a lot of the time Emperor Brigade is at risk of being scorched or killed in some other way. But if you get an Emperor Brigade to stick around, a combat engineer can make a huge difference in round 2, especially if you manage to draw Ciri Dash after playing her in round 1. So you have a nice strong Emperor Brigade that stuck around from round 1. You're able to play Ciri Dash and bring out Roach in round 2, which puts a sizable amount of strength on the board, allowing you to pass and ultimately get your card advantage back. In addition to that, you also have Cantarella, which plays right into Igni, an Igni that you can possibly set up because you are also putting a number of things on the ranged row already with your Emissaries. Emissaries and First Light makes it a very slim deck, but that's a good thing. You want it to be very, very slim because you want to make sure that you're only drawing Ciri or mulliganing into Ciri with your faction passive on round 3. So generally the way you do this is you start with an Emperor Brigade, if you can, play Emissaries, bring out Nausicaa Brigades to kill the Emissaries, bring out your Vikavara Medics to bring back your Emissaries, which could bring out another Brigade or additional Emissaries to continue thinning. If you ever see First Light when you're looking at your deck, specifically with Morvran Voorhees, you can know that if you see First Light and then you see a bronze unit after that unit, you know that if you play First Light, you will automatically get that bronze unit. So in many cases, when you Morvran for your First Light, you actually get 2 cards out of your deck. And there's a lot of planning around that. Also being able to see your deck affects what you draw ultimately from Vilgefortz or Cantarella when you finally play them, as well as the Emissary. So you do have a lot of foresight. Most of the time, all of these bronzes are kind of working in conjunction for a large-scale deck thinning machine, you could say. Roach is here to aid in the thinning as well as extra strength whenever you play a gold. As far as other silvers, Cynthia helps you thin just by helping you draw a card and is usually much better than what you give your opponent. Ox, of course, is more of a meta choice to lock down Neckers and very threatening units. Varan Warriors, Arrakis Behemoths, Siege Towers, what have you. And Swears is also a meta choice specifically for Neckers, but you can get value out of them if you end up dropping 2 Elven Mercenaries. Perhaps some Dragoons get put into the graveyard in the Scoia'tael matchup. You can end up putting a mountain of Neckers into the graveyard in the I almost said Dagon matchup. It's almost exclusively Dagon. But yeah, in the Dagon matchup with Neckers generally, and that can be quite devastating for your monster's opponent, which is what you like to see because there's a lot of consume monsters out there right now. Wow, they're everywhere. So that's a really strong meta choice right now, but you could easily flex this out if you didn't find a lot of use for Swears. I have him in right now because I don't want to get beat by Neckers, and I also want to get sieged. I mean, it's harder with Northern Realms matchup because they end up pulling it out of the graveyard, but sometimes you can clog the graveyard, and sometimes you can actually get all their field medics in the graveyard as well, which is the ultimate target for the Northern Realms matchup. So usually it's good there as well. In the mirror, you're able to use Swears on Vikavara Medics. You're able to use it on Rot Tossers as well. Any unit that you perceive as threatening. You won't see the mirror very much. Nilfgaard's not super popular right now, but that's okay. And then finally with Skellige, Priestess of Freya generally is what you want to hit. Units that aren't going to come back. So, this is the deck roughly. Ciri Dash functions to get bigger. Kehira functions to bring Morvran back so you can thin that much more. And then finally Vilgefortz. You have a lot of control over what you draw with Vilgefortz, and generally is just a power play all the time. Decoy can be used on Combat Engineer and commonly is used on Combat Engineer, but sometimes you might have to use it on a Vikovara medic to facilitate an additional emissary or thinning from your opponent's graveyard. So let's take this deck into a game and see it in action.
I respect nothing human.
Scoia'tael. Okay.
My men know the meaning of sacrifice.
Let's give this a shot. 2 first lights, we'll keep those. Generally, you want to mulligan away the Nausicaa Brigade, as they're much better to get out of your emissaries, and also we're looking for emissaries here. Swears does have application on mercenaries and on dragoons. I think they're both worthwhile. The dragoons are actually pretty good, because dragoons generally come out of first light. We can really hurt his strategy. All right. Yes, good. It's good to have control over that, I guess. I don't want to first light it. I think we can make this work. I think we have enough draws to make this work. We'll be able to find our Vikavaros. They'll show up somewhere. But we'll start off with an Emperor. I think that's probably what we're going to do. If a dragoon comes down, we're going to Swears it.
We elves have our paths.
Ah.
Don't worry about me.
Malena. Well, I suppose we're looking for Ox. We should be able to keep up with Malena, I guess, for the most part. At the moment, at least with the emissaries.
Please wait, Your Excellency. I'm falling behind.
Nilfgaard!
So I was hoping we'd be able to chain our emissaries, because you want to do that if you're not holding Vikavara medics.
I was hoping you'd say that.
There's going to be 2 pings there. Morvran is the safest route to a Vikavara medic, because there's a lot of cards we don't necessarily want to draw. Brigade is bad here, and Brigade is probably better when we can buff it, although it would be staggered. But I think Morvran for a Vikavara medic is probably what we want. We also get to see what our first lights are going to draw, because we get to peek in our deck. Generally don't like doing it this early.
My men know the meaning of
So we got
sacrifice.
an emissary at least, and we know that a Nausicaa Brigade is coming out immediately, right? So it's going to be 2 Nausicaa Brigades, so no Vikavara medic, unfortunately.
Please wait, Your Excellency. I'm falling behind.
We know that Cynthia will draw us
I'll feed you to the crows.
a Nausicaa Brigade as well.
Your tricks will not save you.
So are there no dragoons in this deck? How interesting. I mean, we want Ox really bad right now for Malena, but I think it's probably too far gone. I don't think we'll ever be ahead in this round unless we manage to get some chains going here. But we know what we're looking at.
I like to improvise.
Your tricks will
Right.
not save you.
The other Nausicaa Brigade does go randomly back in the deck. So
Your
we can
humble
get some stuff going here at least. Unfortunately not, though. No Vikavara medics.
Discipline. That is what you folk lack.
Your tricks will not
But
save
now I think the
you.
first lights are more likely going to pull something that we want. There we go. Now it's all coming together.
Egroto dum anime est, spes est.
Nice and thin, nice and thin. Let's go for the big. Let's go for the big card here. It's protected. Combat Engineer might be okay. We might be able to decoy the Combat Engineer as well. Wow, a little late for that, I think. You probably didn't expect me to compete this this hard for this round. We can kill Malena right now with Igni. I think First Light is good too. For the Nausicaa Brigade, I think that it automatically will pull. Fighting hard for this round right now.
A storm is coming. Let's enjoy the weather while we still can.
Now we will see who is weak.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to Swears the Elven Mercenary.
Hop to it, knaves.
We got two. We got two. That's pretty good. So we're standing toe to toe with Milena right now, and we're making it happen. Milena and Isengrim, no less. We're close. Oh, this is scorched metal.
I shall not fail.
We get quite a bit back from the front row here. We do need to get Roach out of the deck, and this is a fine situation to do it, and I think that we could probably do this now with 15 on the front row. Whoa, that was close.
Let's get this over with.
Only tying the game.
I exist because Master Gehenna wills it so.
Okay. 5 cards left in the deck. It's looking increasingly likely that if we play Villager Forts, we're going to find Cantarella or Ciri Dash, which would be great. Just wondering if I want to decoy the Combat Engineer or not. If he passes on the... He would never... I don't think he'd pass if I make a unit resilient. I don't think he would.
I warned you.
None shall
Locking
tread
it
on
up.
us.
All right. I'm actually fine with that because putting that on Swears was not correct. It wasn't terrible because I kind of wanted maybe a Swears option in round 2. We didn't see any Dragoons. Maybe there just aren't any, but the Emperor Brigade is the better target for that. And also, we're just going to go for the protection, so we are going to take the 7 strength Emperor Brigade. And then Villager Forts will hit it home, and we should get this in the face of Isengrim and Milena. We might be able to get this here.
I warned you.
It's close. It's close. What do you replay here if you're Ethna? There isn't really much you can do. You can't replay the Merc. That's probably the most valuable thing. You could replay the Blue Mountain Commando, which can't really replay anything of value. Ethna's very, I mean,
Humans
wow,
have no place in
bouncing an
Broccolon.
emissary back. Actually giving me the lead.
Falling behind.
But what is there? A Blue Mountain Commando into nothing, really.
Dance of death! Ha! Ha!
I mean, it can play the emissary
I
back.
shall not fail.
Let's see what we get, folks.
An interesting choice.
It is K here. Excellent.
I shall do what I must.
That's pretty good power play, gotta say. The Thunder does help him because he's going to kill my resilient unit. For sure he is.
None shall tread on us.
Tie game. Ciri Dash. I mean, there's a 3 in 4 chance that I see it unless it's at the very bottom of my deck.
My men know the meaning of sacrifice.
So there she is. Villager Fort should have burned up Roach in hindsight. This is a very close game.
Yield and save me some time.
Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's actually enough. It is enough. So this is pretty big because we're drawing into Cantarella. And we know that. I'm very surprised that Ethna was burned on the Emissary, but we can see how important round 1 was. Drawing that Thunder obviously is a little problematic, but we didn't get to keep anything. But I think we're fine with both of these cards. The Vikavara allows us to pull an Emissary, which allows us to get down to the last card that we need to ensure that we get Ciri Dash on round 3. 3 silvers in the graveyard, 1 in hand. Decoy was the other one, which means that Vikavara Emissary is not pulling anything. So Cantarella is correct. But Cantarella definitely draws Ciri Dash. So I don't know why I'm thinking about it. I can choose 2 cards.
Let us see.
Ox is the other card, right? Okay.
Don't make me laugh.
I shall not
Fireball
fail.
trap on Roach. Dead ADC. So this is actually fine. We play Vicovaro and pull out a Vriad Vanguard, which gives us enough strength to ensure that he has to play that card to win, and then we draw Siri Dash, and we will win. That's how I see this going.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
Yeah, that's how I see this going.
Your tricks will not save you, Dwarf.
Traitor elves. Traitor elves. That is to say if he even has it, but I think he
Clearly,
does.
I've a weakness for horned wenches.
Very important that we got that card out of his hand. Elias. Why buff? Why use Dragoons to buff when you can just do it all with Elias? The Fireball Trap should have been the final tip-off. Shame on me. So Siri Dash is fine. We will accept Siri Dash.
You'll be fine.
I don't think this produces anything. There's no real... I mean, there's nothing on Rally, there's nothing on ADC, there's nothing to target. This may be a forfeit right now, folks.
Yield and save me some time.
So that's actually ideally how it all comes together. So I'm glad that we got a chance to see that. I mean, in a perfect world, that's how it works out. Sometimes, it's a very combo-dependent deck. Sometimes you just really can't get the pieces you need. A lot of the times, the thing about the emissaries is that it's really oil in the machine. You're going to find that the emissaries facilitate so much for you. You know, you'll be drawing the Nausicaa Brigades or more emissaries, or the Vicovaro medics that you need for more emissaries. But sometimes you just can't get those pieces going. Nilfgaard, finally Nilfgaard deck guide video from me. It was great to do it. I wore my Nilfgaard shirt and everything, folks. So hope you have an excellent evening whenever you're watching this. You know, eventually it'll be the evening, and I hope you have an excellent one. Check out the information on the outro card. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.